everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about Spider-Man. Specifically, the new Spider-Man video game coming out pretty soon on PS5. It's surely going to be a really good game. Honestly, if you pay attention to any of our videos, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. Many people may not like this interpretation of the character. Personally, I enjoyed it. It was just too much fun to play. The game was amazing on the original PS4. The PS4 version. I didn't like the updated version. The face seemed a bit wonky. But the PS4 version of the Spider-Man game, I may actually end up getting the PC version later on. I have it on PS5 as well, but I definitely want to get the the PC version. Mainly so I can mod it and do little things here and there, but ultimately because I want to be able to do live streaming, and it's a little bit cheaper to do on the computer than it is to do it on the PS5. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into this video, but before I get into it, please subscribe to this channel. Ring that bell icon down below to be notified when I post new videos. Also, be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and please share with your friends. Anyway, so in the previous game of Spider-Man, it follows Peter Parker as he's essentially living his life as an adult, which is one of the best things I want to see. I want to say that that's one of the best parts of the game. Spider-Man is grown up, living on his own. He is essentially dealing with the struggles of being Peter Parker and Spider-Man, struggling to balance his work-life. It's the work-life balance. It was the closest, in my opinion, to the Peter Parker from the comic books that I really could. It seemed the most interesting. Was whenever he's grown up, trying to become a scientist, trying to achieve his goals, while also dealing with the fact that, well, he can't really afford to live in New York. It's not cheap. And then there's the fact that he's looking for a job and dealing with all these new threats coming in. He still has to deal with the threats of the Sinister Six. He still has to deal with the threats of the common criminal. But in this, it really shows a proper Sinister Six team. And you have the fact that it's led by Otto Octavius was even better. Now, the overall storyline, like I said, there's a lot of great details in it that are fun to play and fun to observe. Played it on all settings on PS5. I played it on the maximum difficulty. I've played it in every version. I've beaten it I think every single time. So I think I've beaten it multiple times actually, and I would still go back and play it again. So when the PS5 version comes out, based on the trailer that I've seen, they're focusing purely on, and as I get into this, I'm going to continue talking about now the PS5 version of the game. So the PS5 version of the Spider-Man game focuses still on Miles Morales and Peter Parker working together in tandem, protecting New York as the Spider-Men of New York. Now, I'm a firm believer that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Miles Morales is simply just Miles Morales. He is the kid arachnid, whatever you want to call him. He's the protege of Spider-Man. Now, I will say that it's kind of par for the course at this point, so he is a Spider-Man, the secondary one who helps him. He makes things easier for Peter Parker. Let's just say that. But in terms of story, based on what I can tell, based on what I know, Peter Parker is now back, and he's back in New York. He's working he's got a work-life balance now, with MJ being his, I think they're going to be engaged from what I read and what I've seen. So the story-wise, when it comes to the Peter Parker MJ angle, they're very much, a couple again. They've gotten back together. And then you have these new characters being introduced. You have Kraven. Kraven the Hunter being a villain in this storyline is honestly one of the best parts. Hunting down these animalistic creatures, and from what I can tell, what he's actually after is Venom, the primary antagonist of this story. Now, mind you, the other one didn't really have a primary, but the closest thing was Otto Octavius. He was the primary villain, and so were the negative people. So you know how it is with Spider-Man. He has multiple enemies, multiple people he has to face off against. So ultimately, it's hard to say what he's trying to do and what he's going to be doing in this game. It's going to be a game. That's what it is. You have multiple bad guys, multiple villains to fight, multiple threats, all these things. It's going to happen, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be one of the best storylines that I've seen, because you have Kraven the Hunter, you have Venom, you have all these other villains. I think more than likely, it'd be interesting to see Otto Octavius break out of prison and maybe help Spider-Man. It could be that he does that, maybe not, who knows. But ultimately, I would love to see even Harry Osborn return as the Hobgoblin. Now that would be interesting to see in a game. Ultimately, what I want to see is a proper Spider-Man game as good as the previous one, maybe even better, maybe more difficult. I'd love to have a more difficult game to play than just simply following a basic story. Now, what I love about the Spider-Man games is the swinging mechanic. Sorry, the swinging mechanics. I'm enunciating over now at this point. Over enunciating my words. I'm trying to just simply express the fact that this game is honestly one of the best that I've seen. The story, the writing, everything about it, the character interactions, the NPCs, everything about it, the overall design of New York. I mean, it's one of the best that I've seen in years, and generally in any game. I mean, granted, they show, I think, New York in the Matrix games, but I didn't really get to play that one. I didn't really have a vested interest in that. But when it comes to the Spider-Man game, honestly, I'm just eager to see what they do. How they really top what they did with the previous game. Sorry about that. Anyway, when it comes to Spider-Man, what I want to see is a proper game where they show Peter Parker as the focal point. Naturally, he is Spider-Man. Miles Morales, he can be another side quests, things like that. It'd be a good, balance. But ultimately, what I'd love to see also is maybe bring in Gwen Stacy, or have a flashback of Gwen Stacy, something intriguing like that. Now, in the previous game, you had a lot of adventures with Silver Sable and his new cop friend. I mean, so many different characters in this game. Ultimately, everyone in this game was one of the best characters that you could have written. Now, mind you, everyone in this game has some story to tell, and it's ultimately one of the best storylines that I've seen. So, when it comes to this game, I'm hoping that they really, really adapt this properly. They really need to do it. I mean, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, that's all I want to see. That's all I want to play as. Ultimately, the game needs to focus and be primarily fixated on Peter Parker being Spider-Man. And I really hope they don't try to kill him off. That would kill the game. That would absolutely ruin it. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the game is going to be great. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Create TV. I'll see you next time. Bye.